It was a Tuesday. I remember because I was late for work, my phone was dead, and my wife kissed me goodbye with the same smile she'd given me for 3.5 years. A smile I thought I knew. But when I plugged in my phone that evening, I found everything. It's strange how an entire life can unravel in a matter of minutes. Life with Anna had always felt normal in the best way. We weren't the fairy tale couple, but we weren't unhappy. We had routines. Breakfast at 7, me making coffee, her checking emails. Weekends were for grocery shopping and lazy movies on the couch. 3.5 years of marriage, I thought we were rock solid. Sure, we fought sometimes, over stupid things like whose turn it was to clean the bathroom or why I forgot to pick up her dry cleaning. But that's marriage, right? I thought those moments made us real. What I didn't know was that while I was building a life, she was quietly pulling bricks away from our foundation. That Tuesday was like any other. I woke up late and rushed through the morning without checking my phone. It wasn't until I got home, exhausted and ready to unwind, that I noticed my phone had died. I plugged it in, and that's when it buzzed and buzzed. Messages. So many messages. The one that stopped my heart was from someone I didn't recognize. "I can't wait to see you this weekend. Are you still using the same excuse?" The blood drained from my face. My first thought was, wrong number. But the sender's name, his name was saved in her contacts. I scrolled. The texts went back weeks, months. Their conversations were flirty, intimate. They shared jokes I'd never heard. He knew details about her day that I hadn't been told. She even mentioned me in passing, calling me predictable. I sat there staring at the screen, disbelief mixing with nausea. My hands shook as I scrolled further. Pictures, meetup times, everything I hadn't known about my wife was right there in my hands. People imagine these moments are explosive, that you'd scream or confront them immediately. I didn't. Instead, I sat on the edge of our bed for hours, staring at the texts, replaying every moment of the past few months. I thought about our anniversary last month, when she had to work late, but promised we'd celebrate properly later. I thought about the times she'd seemed distant, how I brushed it off as stress. I thought about the nights she turned away from me in bed. And all I could feel was emptiness. By the time she came home, I'd made up my mind. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want her excuses. I didn't want to see her cry or hear her say she was sorry when I knew she wasn't. So I packed a bag, quietly. I took the essentials, clothes, my laptop, my toothbrush. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter right next to the coffee machine I used every morning. And then, I walked out the door. I stayed with a friend that night. When he opened the door and saw my face, I didn't need to explain. He handed me a beer, and we sat in silence for hours. The days that followed were a blur. I blocked her number, ignored the calls from our mutual friends. I couldn't bring myself to explain what had happened. What was I supposed to say? My wife of 3.5 years chose someone else. Eventually, the divorce papers went through without a fight. She didn't contest. Maybe she knew what she'd done couldn't be undone. Or maybe she didn't care enough to try. It's been a year now. I won't lie and say I'm over it. Some days are easier than others. Some days, I miss her. Or maybe I miss who I thought she was. But I've learned this. You can't control someone else's actions, only your response to them. Leaving quietly was my way of reclaiming my dignity. I didn't need her explanations. I didn't need revenge. I just needed peace. And walking away gave me that. To anyone going through something similar, you don't need to burn bridges to move on. Sometimes the quietest exit speaks the loudest truth. Because when someone shows you who they really are, it's okay to believe them.